So a few years ago, we were doing a mobile sweeping operation. I was the first person in the arrow board with my shoulder work ahead sign, and I was sitting right there where the door is. And unfortunately, a driver made a bad decision, and of course, he ran into the back of my arrow board. And fortunately, I'm alive to tell the story.
Hello, I'm Adam Schreiber, a project engineer with ODOT. This is my office, and the only thing protecting me is you. Learn how you can help keep all roadside workers safe at our virtual Safe Driving Awareness event, Thursday, December 10th. And remember, everybody in a work zone is somebody's someone. Thank you.
When you drive through a work zone, drive like your family works here, because our families do. This year, there have been 23 crashes in ODOT work zones. Please help keep our workers safe so we can accomplish our mission. We're working to get you home safely. Please make sure we can get home safely. I'm Mike Dombrowski, asking you to join ODOT and LECET on December 10th for a live virtual event about driver awareness when traveling through work zones. Please, slow down and move over so that we can all get home safely.
This is my daddy. He gets up early every day so he can fix the roads. He loves the people he works with and always keeps an eye out so they are safe. I want him to come home every night so he can play with us and we can tell him about our day. I get scared when I see how close cars come to him when he's working. So would you mind doing something for me? Please slow down when you see my dad and his friends working on the road. Because safer roads save lives.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Get Me Home Safe virtual event, a joint collaboration between the Ohio Laborers, the Ohio Department of Transportation, and the Ohio State Highway Patrol. My name is Bethany Billy, and I'm the Executive Director of Ohio LECET and your host for the evening. Over the past 18 months, the Ohio Laborers, ODOT, and the Ohio State Highway Patrol have partnered to host several public awareness and education events throughout the state. It is our goal to remind those traveling the roads around the great state of Ohio to pay attention while driving. Slow down and move over when you see emergency vehicles or fellow drivers on the side of the road, and to be aware of work zones and those who are working in them. As I said, I'm with the Ohio Laborers, and I represent over 20,000 working union laborers throughout the state. Chances are, if you've driven around the state of Ohio, you've seen our members working on the roads, whether it's on the highways, on the bridges, or even flagging on a rural road. Our members are out there with ODOT technicians working to make Ohio roads safer for you. Who's working to make it safer for them? Our hope is everybody. Tonight, you're going to be hearing directly from those folks who know what it's like to have their office be a busy road or highway and the impact in working in that type of environment is. First up is Robert Rogers, a highway technician at the Moraine Garage in Montgomery County. In this video, Robert shares his firsthand experience about being hit 2 years ago in a work zone, and it is our hope that his message to you helps save lives.
I was 75 southbound at the 35 split right in the gore. Unfortunately, a impaired driver hit my aero board and hit my truck. You're kind of in shock. You know, you can't believe that someone's not paying attention and they actually struck your work vehicle. So fortunately with my accident, I didn't have any injuries. Unfortunately, a lot of my coworkers in other counties don't have that opportunity to actually go home and see their family. I had my seatbelt on, safety belt. Took all my precautions. 9 out of 10 people that I see driving past me in a work zone are on their cell phones, not paying attention to me and my coworkers. I always try to instill into my family and my friends that I'm out there doing the job. Anytime you see flashing lights, no matter what color they are, just please move over and slow down and put your cell phone down.
It's good to know that Roger was able to walk away safe from such a crazy crash. Also, you can encourage your friends and colleagues and family members to follow suit. Make sure you put your phones down while you're driving on the road. Next up, we have Nikki Crenshaw. Nikki is a 10-year veteran of the Laborers Local 265 in Cincinnati. Hi, Nikki.
Hi. Hi.
Thanks for joining
Bethany.
us. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your work as a heavy highway laborer?
Absolutely. My name is Nikki Crenshaw. I'm with Laborers Local 265 here in Cincinnati, Ohio. I've worked, like Bethany had mentioned, heavy highway work and building bridges and also setting up traffic control barriers in an effort to keep our laborers safe. And one thing we all have to remember, just to reiterate what Robert just showed you in that video, we have to remember that those are mothers working out there that are looking to take care of their families as well. There's just not men out there. There's women out there working. And when you're speeding past on your cell phones, it's imperative that we let everyone know that everybody has to slow down. No person's above the law, because I've been in a situation where I've been out there on that highway, just as Robert has, and someone has hit one of those cones or one of those barrels, and they've come protruding into our work zone. So we have to also be able to move out of the way of harm's way as well. And we also have to still make it home to take care of our children and our communities as well. So thank you, Bethany, for giving me the opportunity to speak today.
Thank you, Nikki. And you mentioned being a mother. So what happens if something were to happen to you out on the road? What happens to your family?
Well, things will take a turn for the worse. Definitely a financial impact would happen, as well as an economical extension of the future of our youngest children. Um, Fortunately for us, we have benefits in place as well as training in place to try to keep us all safe and take care of our families. However, the impact of teaching our children comes into play as well. When you have someone such as myself, who is the primary teacher of our children and those of the primary teachers of a lot of kids in our communities, it's imperative that we just give a little bit of thought, if not a lot of thought, to those mothers working out there in the field.
That's right. And that's the big thing that we're trying to get across to folks today is that, everybody who is working out on the roads, they have families at home like we do, that you guys want to go home to your families at the end of the day. So I really appreciate you giving your point of view and joining us today on our virtual event. Stay safe, Nikki.
Thank you, Bethany. And thanks so much for getting the word out.
You're welcome. Speaking of work zones, we're now going to be getting a firsthand look at where ODOT highway technicians and Ohio laborers report to work each day from Adam Treiber. He's a project engineer with ODOT District 8. Adam's been with ODOT for 12 years, and he oversees construction projects and works as an auxiliary snowplow driver during the snow and ice season.
Hi, I'm Adam Schreiber, a project engineer with the Ohio Department of Transportation. Behind me is the Greene County US 35 Super Street project. Now let me show you what my office looks like on a day-to-day basis. So this project is going to update the intersections at US 35 and Factory Road, US 35 at Orchard Lane, and it's going to widen US 35 in both directions as well. On the stretch from US 35 between Factory Road and Orchard Lane, there's about 40,000 vehicles a day that run this section. We're entering a busy holiday season now, and the projects do run year-round, so we need to be conscious of that as well. Well, we do have concerns on this project and other projects in the area with motorists and with crews working alongside traffic. Like I said, we do see an uptick in traffic this time of year during the holiday season. And for our safety, for the motorist safety, we ask people to slow down, move over, and watch out for crews. The weather in December and through the rest of the winter, it does slow the projects down a little bit, but we will still continue to work when the weather allows. And of course, we will have our snow and ice crews on the road as well. It will slow us down, but it will not stop us, and we're going to look for every opportunity to continue the projects. And that's general for this time of year in this construction season. So again, we ask people to slow down. There still will be crews working alongside the road even during the winter.
Like Adam said, it's important to pay attention when you're driving through a work zone. You saw how close he was and that's his office compared to where I am right now in an office. His office has cars driving by and honking horns and breaking barriers every day. So we really want you to pay attention, slow down, and move over. And like Adam said, slowing down could save a life. And speaking of saving lives, next up, we have State Trooper Jessica McIntyre. She's familiar with saving lives. She's been with the Ohio State Highway Patrol for over 20 years. Welcome, Jessica.
Hello. People can see me. You know, have any question? I don't be able to hear you because it is kind of. But anyway, I Trooper Jessica McIntyre with the Ohio State Highway Patrol, and of course that's where we come in is enforcing the law. I know for myself, as I've been on these years, I had situations where I have almost been struck by a vehicle. Luckily, I was able to get in my car and stop the individual, and it doesn't necessarily have to be them being impaired, just not paying attention. I know there's one officer that was struck in 2004 up north, and it was early in the morning. It was dark out still, and it was cold, and he was struck by a vehicle, and they were not paying attention. Basically did not see him in the roadway. And then soon after we started wearing, of course, our safety vests, people could be or see us in the roadway when we're out there hand crashes and taking measurements. And sometimes, of course, that is kind of dangerous. Once he was hit, because he was in the roadway getting some measurements, he went up in the air, came back down, broke both of his legs, as well as his ankle. He healed, and he's still on to this day. He unfortunately has a rod in his leg right now, but he healed and worked himself back out into the road. So it's unfortunate that we have situations, and definitely now during the pandemic, we've seen that our numbers have gone down this year in certain areas, like for OVIs, distracted driving. These are the areas that we focus in on that would cause people to perhaps, because when we're on the side of the road. Some people think that the number one reason why we are either killed on the roadway is by gunfire or whatnot. No, it's by people hitting us on the side of the road. So it's very important that people are aware. Of course, we don't want people driving. And I will tell you, our fatalities are up. Last year we were at 1,094. This year we're at 1,161 right now. Not a huge increase, but we don't want fatalities. We want people to be aware and be paying attention. And more than anything at this time is to continue to be safe and healthy during these times that are just uncertain. We're looking forward to hopefully in 2021 to getting back to some type of normalcy, I know, for everyone. But in that time, we still need to be very safe.
And that most folks are aware of the slow down, move over law. Can you not hear me? Well, apparently we're having a little technical difficulties and Trooper McIntyre couldn't hear me. But like she said, you know, it's so important to slow down and move over and to pay attention. This was a state trooper's car. Luckily, he was on our last broadcast and he was able to walk away from that crash. He was actually in that vehicle when it was struck by a semi. So we're really trying to reiterate to the public, you know, that extra 10 or that extra 3 minutes that you might get in arriving at your destination a little bit earlier, is that really worth someone's life? Or as you know, sending that text message to your friend or reaching over and grabbing that water bottle that fell on the floor of your car really worth someone's life? At the end of the day, it's not. Next up, we have with us Matt McGuire. He's the Public Information Officer for ODOT District 9 in Southern Ohio. Welcome, Matt.
Hey, how you doing, Bethany?
I'm well, thanks. How about yourself?
Doing good. It's good to be here. It's good to have the opportunity to speak to the public about this very important issue. So, as Bethany said, my name is Matt McGuire. I'm a Public Information Officer with the Ohio Department of Transportation, serving District 9, which covers 8 counties in Southern Ohio. And while I'm a Public Information Officer now, I actually started my ODOT career as a highway technician. So I lived that life. I worked on the roads every day, doing maintenance and construction. And I just wanted to kind of share some of my experiences. I spent about 1.5 years as a highway technician. And one of the most striking things now that I'm no longer out there every day is kind of looking back and recognizing just how quickly you adapt to this dangerous environment that is your everyday workplace, like Bethany said earlier, your office. And the number of times that you have these what we call close calls, you know, where you feel like you're just a few inches from a terrible tragedy. I've had, you know, cars pass by me so close that the wind has knocked my hard hat off my head. You get used to hearing the squeal of brakes while you're working. Someone's run up on your work zone and waited too long to get over, to move over and slow down. And it just becomes part of the noise, part of the everyday that you deal with. Probably the most affecting incident for me personally was actually one that I was not physically present for. When I started my career with ODOT, I actually worked on the night shift, and our night shift crew was struck in August of 2018 by a semi that entered the work zone. It was around 4 a.m. They were actually clearing up for the night. They had just about loaded all of their equipment, and the semi entered the zone and struck. We have our crash trucks that are designed to take that impact if a vehicle does enter our work zones. So that crash truck saved at least 3 lives, if not more, that night. Fortunately, no one was seriously injured, but I did have 3 coworkers who were transported to the hospital. And the thing is that I should have been out there. I had taken a temporary assignment that put me on days, and that was the only reason that I wasn't on that repair that night. Otherwise, I would have been one of those workers, and I might not have been as lucky as they were. 2 of them had been on the job less than 6 months. I can't imagine, you know, you're starting a new career, you're excited, all the anxiousness that comes with getting used to a new job, and then you're thrown into this life or death situation where you could be dead just like that. And so I'm grateful for the opportunity now. In my current role, I get to tell ODOT story. I get to advocate for our workers and participate in great events like this one, where we carry that message out to the public. And we just really want to emphasize to people, that this is our job and we love what we do, but we want to go home safely at the end of the day. And we're always looking for ways to improve work zone safety. We're always looking at, brighter lights, bigger signs, anything we can do to kind of get drivers' attention. But far and away, the best solution is for the motoring public to be alert and attentive when they're out on our roads and when they come across a work zone. Seeing a car move over when you're working on the side of the road, just that little gesture, it lets them know that they see you. And it makes a huge difference for your comfort level when you're trying to focus on doing a quality job and trying to take pride in your work, when you know that the people that you're out there serving are watching out for you too.
Thanks, Matt. The one thing I really took away from your story is when you mentioned, the car horns blaring and brakes squealing becomes white noise to you. White noise to me is hearing the copy machine go off or my coworker speaking in the background. I can't imagine day in and day out that is not something that you are cognizant of on a regular basis, since things are so close to you. So I'm really glad that, your coworkers were able to walk away from that. Here in Ohio this year, we've already had 5 Ohio laborers killed in crashes that were in work zones, and they were easily preventable. People could have just slowed down or paid attention to what they were doing. And that's just what we're asking you folks to do today, is to really, again, we can't reiterate enough that we're all people and we're all trying to get home to our families at the end of a long, hard day of work. So please slow down, move over, stay focused. If you have to send that text message, I'm sure it can wait a couple minutes until you get to a red light, until you get to your destination at home. And, that brings us to the end of our event. And although you probably couldn't tell by the beautiful weather we had in Ohio today, snow and ice season is on its way here in Ohio. So we also want you to really, again, slow down and move over and pay attention when the weather starts to turn bad. I want to thank the ODOT districts 7, 8, and 9 and the Ohio State Highway Patrol for joining us today. If you want additional information, you can go to www.lecet.com, or you can scan the QR code here on the screen. Thanks again for listening, and we really appreciate your efforts to keep our workers safe and make sure they make it home to their families at the end of the day. Thank you, everybody.